on there. The guy name is I hope I'm not saying his name wrong, but it's Stephen Parget. He young guy. He's the organizer for Trap the Vote, which is really the 2019 version of Rock the Vote, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
He's trying to, because it was in Atlanta, so, they want to do Trap the Vote, which I thought was a real cool play on words. But he was on the panel. Next to him was Candace Owens. For those who don't know who Candace Owens is, she is black conservative. She's, a Trump supporter. CNN, I think she's on CNN. But she's a black woman in politics that support Trump, and she goes hard too. She was on there, but very intelligent woman though, you know what I'm saying? Very, very intelligent black woman though.
Very sharp. Yeah.
Very, very sharp. She was on there. One of my favorite rappers was on there. Killer Mike was on there doing what he do best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That man really should he really should run for office.
As usual.
Yeah, he was on there. T.I. was on there. You know what I'm saying? T.I. was on there doing this thing. Loving what T.I. has been doing as far as getting involved politically and stuff like that. A lot of these rappers that are up there in age, you know what I'm saying? They really, really, putting their best foot forward.
It's a beautiful thing.
Even Jeezy too, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, but Jeezy wasn't on the panel, but Jeezy, he getting on his shit though. But back to the panel. So yeah, Candace Owens was on there, Stephen Parget was on there, Killer Mike was on there, a woman by the name of Katrina Pearson was on there. She's a Tea Party member. If you remember the Tea Party when Barack Obama was when he was running and when he got in, those were the people that was trying to get him out and oppose everything that he was doing. So she's a part of that clique, the Tea Party. She's a Trump supporter also. And Tamika Mallory, she was on it. The beautiful Tamika Mallory. She's the head of the Women's March that they did on Washington last year, if I'm correct. She's in charge of the Women's March. She supports Black Lives Matter. She rock with my son. I see her and my son. They do a lot of stuff together in communities and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she has it's funny. She has a real deep background in community activism. Yeah. She's from Al Sharpton. She's from Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton has a little group, you know what I'm saying? I think the National Action Network, if I'm correct. And she came up in the ranks of that, you know what I'm saying, being a child activist and stuff like that. Like her parents were organizers. So she comes from that cloth. She's cut from that revolutionary cloth.
Oh, wow.
So
Their roots dig deep.
Yeah, so they had a real dope panel. And of course, like I said, for those who didn't see it, the whole Trap the Vote panel on the Revolt Summit was basically about the upcoming elections. Trump, he's ending his first term. Mm-hmm. Let's hope it's his last. But he's ending his first term. And, it's getting to the, it's getting that time again where we need to elect a new HNIC up in there.
Right.
And most importantly now, I believe, it's always been important, but most importantly now with the way America has been going, the black vote is really booming right now. Everybody is really vying for the black vote. The black vote is really the vote that's gonna put the next president in office. Right.
And this segment been very it seemed like this year and this term, the end of this term, been really special. It seemed like more of the black masses have been more conscious of what's going on, who's going to be elected, and what are we going to get in return for our votes. I'm hearing that, across the board. people stepping out and saying, okay, what can you do for us and my community? Which is it's starting to show more of a start. It's a start of formation. Perhaps with some kind of structure,
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, I'm going to cut you off, but it's kind of funny because they start the panel off with, something that's been floating around a lot. And it's this whole non-monolithicism, if you want to call it, if I'm using that correctly, if I'm pronouncing that the right way. But whereas black people are non-monolithic, meaning that every black person don't think alike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a fact.
We get into these debates a lot in years of about what we want, and all this stuff, and people are really, really putting it out there. It's like, well, not every black person wants the same thing. Not every black person, feels the same way. Not every black person, strives for the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's definitely not meaning to cut you off, but that's and that's a fact. And if we talking about the culture of blacks, I mean, so many different talents, so many different inventions, so many different things come from our people. So our mind is not going to be aligned the same way. So what I think is if we just have some bulletin points, as in, okay, we all strive for positivity. We all want to be happy. So what is the steps we're going to make to get to that point in the world of politics, right? Because, it's kind of hard to put such a group of talented people and oppressed people in one category to think the same. Is that humane? But structure is key and needed, so.
And it's interesting. It's interesting too because, while, it's true that every black person is not the same. There needs to be some form of unification. Just yesterday, as a matter of fact, after I watched the summit, I came across the newest interview of Lorenz Tate on the Breakfast Club. Yeah, he on the Breakfast. It blew my mind. I've been a huge Lorenz Tate fan. You know what I'm saying? I even rock with the stuff that him and his brothers do that a lot of people don't even know about. Like him and his brothers is putting out mad dope stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm huge Lorenz Tate fan since Menace to Society, and he was on the Breakfast Club promoting the last season of Power, but he got real deep on that joint, yo.
Right.
I was like,
so casual. He did it so casual.
I didn't even know he was that woke.
Right. He was just throwing gems. He was just throwing them out there easy.
And he was touching on something, what I'm saying, that like I said, I agree with the whole non-monolithic thing, how we all don't think alike. You know what I'm saying? I agree with that, but I personally feel, and it's something that Lorenz Tate said. He was like, well, that's all well and good. He's like, but we need to all think alike on something.
On something.
You know what I'm saying?
I can agree on that. See, I can agree on that.
We all need to think alike.
What's three things that we all have in common, as in being a gay black man, as in being a black man in an interracial relationship, as a black man, as in super pro-black, and all black relationships only deal with black business, to
as in a white man a black man who was born in the suburbs, who you know what I'm saying?
Right, or a black man living in the suburbs, or a black man that just don't fuck with nobody.
Right. Like, what is it? You know what I'm saying?
And like human beings, period.
And not just men, women too. You know what I'm saying? Like, what, you know, like, what can we all come together on? You know what I'm saying? Like, there needs to be a unification, because, you know, one thing Lorenz had also talked about in that interview, to get some clarity, he drew comparisons. He was like, you look at other cultures or whatever. Mm-hmm. You know, you look at the Italians, you look at the Jews, you look at the Hispanics, you look at the Asians. Of course, they're all individually different, but they move as one.
Oh yeah, they I mean, like the Jewish people. I mean, you know, I have few friends that's Jewish, and the way they move their network game is crazy. I mean, that's one thing I admire. You know what I mean? The way they move as one, they take care of each other. And I mean, they even communicate from wherever they at in the States all the way back. I mean, out of the country. You know what I mean? The network game is serious, and they have practice. You know, they practice their you know, religion helps, but you know, every black is not religious. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, we say Jewish, that's a religion. You know, blacks is like, you know, you got Christians over there, you got Muslim over here, you even have black Jewish, and then you have just, you know, the 5%ers. I mean, we could go on to how many different blacks it is.
Right.
You know,
but even with you know what I'm saying, you know, the Jewish people, you know, the people who are actually from Jerusalem. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, beyond a religious thing. You know what I mean? They moving as a people. You know what I'm saying? As a nation. As a nation.
Right.
I remember talking to a brother online, and it was a while ago, but the question was about identity. And T.I. talked about this too on that panel, about identity. Like, the reason why we're not getting, you know, the things that we need, or and the respect that we deserve, is because, you know, we don't move as a nation. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yeah, that's a fact.
We don't move. We don't move as one unit.
That's
a
fact. That's one thing we all can agree on.
You know, and it's like, you know, there's,
you know what I mean?
like when I was talking to the guy on line, it was on Instagram. You know, he was more of, like, to him, that kind of shit didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, but bro, that does matter. I was like, because, you know, that not only does it connect you to your heritage, but it connects you to the people who are more likely to fall into situations that you're going to fall into, who are going to require the things that you're going to require, who's going to vote on some of the same things that you're going to vote on. And I was like, you know, he's you know, and he you know, his retort was like, well, you know, you can worry about that. I'm gonna go do these seminars, and I'm gonna go do, you know what I'm saying, these charity funds and all that. And I comment him back. I'm like, yo, bro, you're doing a great job, yo. We appreciate that a lot. I'm like, but what you got to understand is, you're doing that for our people, right? He's like, right. I'm like, who are we, though?
Who are we, though?
Who are we?
That's the question.
Are we black? Are we African American? Are we Aboriginal? Are we Native American? Who, you know what I'm saying? I personally, you know what I'm saying, me personally, I use the term black, and that's in reference to the movement in the 60s, you know, in the 70s that don't nobody want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? The whole Black Power movement. The Black Power movement, the Black Arts movement, you know what I mean, where we came together, black people from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It was like, yo, I'm black and I'm proud. And they was making songs about it, you know what I'm saying? All that. We black and we proud. But people don't go back that far in history, or they skip over that history. They skip over the era of the Afros. They skip over the era of,
which was a very important segment.
Yeah, they skip over the era of, you know what I mean, the student nonviolent committee. They skip over the Black Panther Party. They, you know what I'm saying, they skip over all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, very important pieces to you know what I mean, that made a difference in our culture to where we at now and where we stand.
And to go back to what Lorenz Tate was saying, you know, all that is cool, how we all don't think alike, but it's too much individualism. It's too much individualism.
And that's the day and time that we're in where...
But here's the thing, though. That's not the day and time the world is in. That's not the day and time the country is in. But why is it the day and time that we're in?
I mean, I'm not making any excuses. You see, we're so separated in so many different aspects, because I'm about to say, as in what? I mean, if we put as in religious blacks, or are we talking just
overall? All.
We so...
Because that goes into, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Killer Mike, on the panel, Killer Mike even said it himself. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yo, he was like, niggas, we up here arguing over who got the better master.
Yeah.
So it's like whether you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, gay, straight, whether you think you are Aboriginal, you know, whatever the fuck you think, you know what I mean? Whatever, whether you a leftist or rightist or you conservative or Republican, whatever, we arguing over who got the better master. Well, we should, like what Killer Mike said, when we should be talking about which master house we gonna burn down first.
I mean, that's the truth. The truth had to be told. You know, like and that's the mindset, and that's the mind frame of lazy people not wanting to. And I'm not mean as a whole, but I mean just as in people that just want to walk in. And you know what? Some people are natural chiefs. You know what I mean? And then you got the helpers. I mean, that's. I mean. You know,
that's why
the ones that's gonna create a new house, who's gonna build a new house, is gonna be the leaders, and that's where we bring it forth. We don't have enough leaders to move this thing forward. Who's bold enough to step up? Who's collectively, you know, stable enough, as in the mindset strong enough for, you know what I mean, to able to hold that. To I mean, the way. You know, we watch Obama, the way he carried himself. I mean, just the way he just carried himself. We don't have to get really deep into what he did for the country, but just, I mean, the way he carried himself amongst the masses. And you know, it
was an aura of dignity and respect.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, and it's like whether, you know, whatever people feel about his policies and what he did or what he done, the image, you know what I'm saying? What, you know, the image, the effect of the image. Because see, here's one thing, and just real quick, you know, people are quick to dismiss, you know what I'm saying, something like that, but then they'll double back and they'll say how important positive images are for us. Well, just Michelle and Barack's image, the image alone was powerful. Of them two in that position. The image of Jay-Z and Beyonce alone, the image. If you're going to say that black images, you know what I'm saying, affects black people, powerful black images affects black people, then you got to say that those two images are definitely powerful. So just this image alone, you know what I'm saying, exude that level of confidence, of power, you know what I'm saying, of that swag that every one of us have, you know what I'm saying?
Right, and that's us going, you know, far as I mean, you know, hands on in social media. But one thing I like to add too is that we have to even cherish the ones amongst in our family that's holding their family down. Taking care of their children, you know, treating a queen like one, helping out their cousins, their uncles, their aunts, and just holding down much as they can. We have to even cherish those that's in our inner family, not even have to reach all the way out to the president or, you know, into the to the entertainment. We have to start Michael Jackson. Start with the man in the mirror, but after that, just reach out a little bit, check out your cousin. If he's he or she is a positive image that you admire, play them close, and you know what I mean, and learn from them. Take baby steps and getting things together collectively. I mean, that's why me and you bond. You know what I mean? I mean, we naturally cousins. And, entire family don't always get along, but the ones that, you're like, wow, because I admire you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Very educated. Anytime I have a conversation with you, it has Jews to drop. You know what I mean? You take care of your family, and you put these things, your priorities first. You see what I mean?
Doubt.
So,
and I like about what you said about...
We can always shout out Jay-Z, which I highly respect, but I respect you even more.
Right.
Closer.
And I like what you said earlier about leadership. You know what I'm saying? Because, Tamika Mallory mentioned something about that. She mentioned the lack of black leadership. You know what I'm saying? It kind of ties into what you were saying, and it's like the only leader that we have is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You know what I'm saying? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has done more, for black people by and large than probably anybody in this generation and the generation before, and including whoever anybody, thinks. But the problem is the only leader that we actually have, we have black people who don't choose to rock with him simply because of his religion.
Yeah.
So that goes back into, where we need unification. We need unification. Like, we're fighting over who got the better master. You know what I'm saying? And that's why here at the Black Masculist, we love to promote not only the positive imagery of black men in America and all over the world, but also just to let brothers know, man, it's like, yo, man, it does not matter. It does not matter if you are light skin, dark skin, brown skin, crispy black, gay, straight. It don't matter if you dating somebody white. It don't matter if you dating somebody black. It don't matter if you're a Republican, a Democrat. It don't matter if you are black. They all look at you one certain way. They don't look at you one certain way. You know what I'm saying? So we all, with all our differences, and we can use the different black men that I just described. We can use those as archetypes for the different type of black people in America. Although they may be different, we got to remember we all got one common enemy, and that's oppression. And we got to get rid of that. We got to come together. We got to put aside simple stuff like religion, or even now, people are separating themselves by sexual preference. And it's like you do what you do. Love who you love. But you know what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with politics. Eating habits, right?
Even because I'm a vegetarian. I haven't ate meat in a while, 5 years, right? But I mean, like going to Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying? I still go to Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? I go still hang out with the family. You know what I mean? And even though I don't eat the same things, like
because guess what?
Is the pork in that? Is the beef in that?
Because guess what, cuz?
I'm there for the.
Guess what?
For the
Because Thanksgiving ain't about food. It's not about food. It's about unity. So that's what we need to focus on. You know what I'm saying? And for all those listening out there, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, needs to be a leader in their community. You know what I'm saying? As much, if you're not even a leader in your community, like you said, cuz, be a leader in your family. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Strive.
What's so funny, cuz, and then you got folks that'll say, the history of Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate it, Thanksgiving. I don't celebrate Christmas. All of these things, and then amongst our families, people do celebrate these things. So you could put these things aside and be like, okay, I'm not there for Thanksgiving. I'm not there for Christmas. I'm not there for,
like I'm there for my family.
The history, the true history behind these things of why they're celebrated. But you're like, well, my family's there, I'm going. I'm there for, you know what I mean, word.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because, you know what I'm saying, You know, it's not like
so many obstacles and there's so many things that's blocking us to be together. Got to
exactly
really put everything aside and take a moment, look at yourself. You know what I mean? Take a moment and take that time to have that time with your family because it's really important. And time waits for no man or woman.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I want to, since we're on the topic of leadership, on the panel, it was real hard for me to watch those two beautiful sisters up there defend Donald Trump the way they was defending him.
Mhm. And it's so hard not to get emotional. Why
it was just crazy
to them and see him, because you have to be really, really patient to try, because you have to try to find a way to understand what point of view they're coming from first, to even find a medium.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for the most part, like I said, for those who really didn't get a chance to see it, Candace Owens, she was going die hard for Trump. And I respect Candace Owens because, like I said, you know what I'm saying before, she's a very, very intelligent black woman. And there was a lot of things that she said up there that I agree with. But the funny thing is, since this Trump administration, there's been this thing, cuz it's that's called alt news. It's alternative news, where it's like Trump says it all the time. How Trump always say the media is lying. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but nigga, you lying. You know what I'm saying? And it's it's like they take something and it's almost to the effect of like you take something, you take it apart, you rearrange it, and you put it together, and then try to say it's the same thing. Like how
doing the research, people don't even have the time. People not doing the research. People just take things for face value and run with it. They don't even have. I mean, Denzel even mentioned that before. He said that, you know what I mean. Even the news, even the media, if they hear just a piece of something, they're gonna take that and run with it and not even have a full story.
But to get deeper, go ahead.
No, you got it, cuz.
But to get deeper in that, it's like with Candace Owens, well, with both of them. How can you sit up here and say that on one hand you're talking about how we're failing in this economically, we're failing in home ownership, education, and all that stuff. So some of that stuff statistically may be true, but then you turn around and you say something like Trump has helped black people more than anybody in the history of America. It's like it's like they don't make sense at all. They don't make sense at all. And it's like for a person as intelligent as Candace Owens is, as intelligent as she is, you would do better on this side of the fence.
Right.
Because it's like,
right. One
crazy.
thing that she was right about that I'm like, ooh, yeah, she got a point. That's funny with Candace Owens is that, she said a lot of things that I disagree on, but she said the things that I did agree on was heavy points that she said they know how to move y'all. They know Democrats, y'all emotionally move when they mention slavery or being oppressed, and they like, oh, I want that guy. They're saying the right things, but not checking the facts. When you have a group of people that you can move emotionally, oh man, it's fair game. It's a big game now because you know how people is going to react. Like, okay, if I put this out, that's just like Kanye. If he, he's like, oh, I want to get a big reaction before my album drop. I'm about to put on a MAGA hat. Watch this. Like how can you just clock that work like that? You see what I'm saying? And
it's like it's clickbait.
Can't be
it's like clickbait.
Moved.
Yeah, it's like clickbait in real life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's so crazy. Oh, excuse me 1 second. Yeah, it's just real crazy how that stuff come about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, that just the whole way the Democratic Party move. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I vote Democrat. You know what I'm saying? I vote Democrat for a long time. But just like you said, I too agree with what she said about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, they move very, very weak, and they move very, very sloppy. And there's a lot of things that they want to do that they really, really can't do. Not to say that, you know what I'm saying, there's things that they want to, that they say they're going to do and they don't do. There's things that they want to do and they say they want to do and they actually can't do it. Mm-hmm. And she's 100% right about how they use things like racism. And that's nothing. That goes to what I was talking about with the alternative news. It's like how, you know what I'm saying, on one hand, you say something that makes perfect sense. As far as what you had just said, how she say how the Democratic Party, they use stuff like racism to rile black people up. They use all these different things that they know that's going to rile us up emotionally. How can you say that, which is 100% facts, but then turn around and say that Donald Trump is the greatest president that ever lived? it just doesn't make sense. And it was one thing that they said on there. It was two things. One thing that they said on there, I was real pissed off at the audience because while Candace Owens was getting on her fact check, how she was like, "Yo, y'all need to fact check that. Nobody fact checked. You know what? One thing.
Can you respect that part from her though? I mean, you gotta have a super open mind to work with a woman like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But the things that she's saying that, that sound, when they say fact check that, and you actually fact check that, you know what I'm saying? And okay, just real quick though, okay, working with people that truly think Donald Trump did the most for black people than any president in America. Okay, fine. I mean, let's just say, 15% of blacks think that. Just throwing a number out there, right? But how do we all come together as one? Do we put all politics aside and start with our community, start with our neighbors, and then, or at the same time, learn politics, learn these things? Because a lot of things that's being said, politically, people is not doing the research, people is not doing that. I mean, you're dealing with a group of people that's been oppressed for a long time. People is mentally tired. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you know what I mean? And
what you're saying, because both is correct. Both is correct. You know what I'm saying? Because I give you an example. In Ferguson, Missouri, when we lost Mike Brown, when the cop shot, Mike Brown. Shot them all up in the face, left them there. The whole Ferguson situation. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That caused all those riots, and it's I didn't know until a little bit later on that the suburb of Ferguson, predominantly black people live there, but nobody black runs the government. And when that made news, and it really shined a light on how the way America really, really thinks about us, which is the same as they always have. When it really shined a light on that, the people of Ferguson got their stuff together, and they got themselves in office. They put themselves in there.
Put the work in.
They put the work in, and they put black people in office. So it takes that. It takes both. It takes us learning about politics, and it takes us forgetting about for a small time, forgetting about the rest of the country and worrying about what's going on locally, because that's what really matters. First, voting locally, you can reach out and you can touch them. I can go 2 blocks, and if I got a problem, I won't say his name, but if I got a problem with, you know what I mean, the representative in my district, if I got a problem with him, I can walk right up down the street, knock on his door, and slap him in the face. I can reach out and touch him. I can have a meeting with him. If I want to do something for the community, I don't have to call anybody. I can go right up the block. The representative is right there. You know what I'm saying? He can actually do what I need to done, and then he can take it a step further. You know what I'm saying? For the city in general, the mayor right downtown. You know what I'm saying? The mayor ain't in a whole nother state, in a whole, you know what I mean? And we know it's not where he's like the sun and I can't touch him, like how a president is. How like you look at a president, you're like, yo, I can't, there's no way my hand can reach out and touch the president.
Right.
You know, your local politicians, you can reach out and touch them. The furthest you got to go to reach your politician is downtown.
Hey, and that's what I mean by start with your neighbors.
Exactly.
That's how you gain power.
But I really want to
That's how you gain. When I mean power, I mean courage. I mean enlightenment. I mean that's how energy works. You know what I'm saying? When you around certain auras, you absorb it. You know what I mean? When you're around certain people, it's magnifying, and you naturally just gain that courage, that power, to become more. You know what I mean? It's like if I hang with gangsters, most likely I'm gonna become one.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm gonna hang out with a bunch of nerds, I mean, you're gonna end up becoming a nerd.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, like, just be
conscious
of.
Right. Let's bring it back real quick, though. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, these 2 things I really want to touch on. I don't want to stray too far from these, because these 2 things are really, really important.
No doubt.
The one thing that they said, like I said, you know what I'm saying, you know, Candace Owens she was throwing out all this fact checks, but nobody fact checked them on this. You know, they said that Donald Trump, was responsible for all of, you know, the brothers getting out of jail that were doing numbers for minor drug offenses. They said that Trump was responsible for getting them out of jail. That's a complete lie right there. In actuality, that was Obama.
And that was Obama.
But nobody fact checked that.
Nobody fact checked that.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, so you know, that's one thing. And that, before I go into the next thing, that right there, it kind of goes into what my song was saying. On the joint, on the panel, there was a part where Killer Mike went on one of his rants, and you know, one of his amazing rants, by the way. You know what I'm saying? You know, some you know, people use the word rant as if like you know, but you know, he went on a tangent. On one of his tangents, he when he was talking about America was great. You know, my son, you know, he had something to say. He's like, my son, hold on, I got you. My son actually made a video where he voiced his opinions on that statement. And that, you know, that came to my mind because he said something to the effect of, we got to be careful with the things that we say, because the quote unquote enemy can use those things against us. And like that right there, you know what I'm saying, by them saying that Trump did that and nobody checking that, that's going to lead people who don't know that's going to lead people to believe that Trump actually did that. When in reality, everything that Trump is saying that he's doing is either things that Obama had did, or it's things that he's doing to destroy the things that Obama was doing or trying to do.
Right.
So that's real. So, you know what I'm saying, that's real important. That goes back to what I was saying about the alternative news. You know what I'm saying? As far as black people, we got to be, you know, we talk about, you know, we want to be individuals so much, you know what I mean, that we individually stray too far away from the village, and we say shit that may put impressions on younger people that may sway them into, you know, that may sway them also away from the village. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, because you see two intelligent black women up on the panel representing our people, and, you know, they saying, no, y'all got it wrong. Trump did this and Trump did that for our people. You know who's looking at that? Little black girls are looking at that.
They are.
They looking at that.
Yes, they are.
And that, you know, that's one thing my song was saying. But, you know, I use it in reference to that. He used it in reference to what Killer Mike said about there was a time when America was great. You know, and the time he's actually talking about, that he's supposed to be talking about, is the times after the Civil War. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. There was a time when after the Civil War, you know, we were doing the most work. We were the most skilled out there. I mean, when you think about it, slavery, we were the only ones working. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, you know, there's a whole, there's a whole joke how they say, blacks been lazy since slavery. You know what I'm saying? Like, the joke is something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't think of how that way it go, but, you know, but there was a time when we were the only skilled labor because we were the only ones who knew how to do stuff. That's why we built everything, because we were the only ones who knew how to do stuff. You know, even, you know, my son even, my son, he was even breaking it down, how, how we were involuntarily brought over here, how they stole us and brought us over here, you know, because they tried to use other kind of slaves and they all was dying. You know what I'm saying? We adapt. We adapt better than anybody. You know what I'm saying? You know, no matter where you put us at, we're going to get it together. Yeah. So immediately, us coming out of slavery, you know what I'm saying, we went straight into commerce. We went straight into business. We went straight into building shit. You know what I'm saying? We went straight into farming. We went straight into getting it in.
Black Wall Street.
Right. With, you know, that era comes a little further down, and I think he was trying to combine all that together. But, like, my son, he touched on, he was like, well, you know, we're 15% of the population. You know, there was never a time back then where we owned 15% of anything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, fact check. We all got to do fact check because everybody's right as far as when we talk about the history. It's just people's views on it, and that goes back into the whole what Lorenz Tate was saying. It's a little too much individualism. It's a little too much because now we're two people standing in front of each other arguing about the same thing. You know what I'm saying? We go from facts. When there's facts.
In any argument, there is facts on the table and everything. And I mean, it's probably, 10% facts and 90% opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have facts. You got the facts, but everything well around it is going to be opinion. So let's just get straight to the facts.
Yeah, because it's like on one end we arguing over who got the better master, then we arguing the same shit. We arguing, you know what I'm saying, the exact same thing. Like, it's like, why are we even arguing? Like, we're actually agreeing. We actually should be agreeing because we're saying the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I do agree with what my son was saying as far as we got to be careful with the things that we say, you know what I'm saying, because, certain people could take it a certain way. You know what I'm saying? They can easily say, well, like he was saying on the joint, he was like, it's very easy for Trump's people to say, well, look, you know what I'm saying? Even the rappers say, you know what I'm saying, that there was a time when America was great. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that.
Uh-huh.
You know, like I said, I apply it to what Candace Owens was saying. You know what I'm saying? They can even say something like, well, yeah, look, see, even y'all the powerful black women are telling y'all the stuff that I be doing. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, no.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know,
man.
It's crazy, you know what I'm saying? You know, and it's like
imagine the blast. That is tough, man.
Yeah. And you know, I got some stats, you know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna throw some stats up on the website tomorrow. That's www.theblackmasculist.com. You can also check us out on Instagram, The Black Masculist 1. You can check us out on Facebook as well, The Black Masculist 1. And you can also find us on YouTube. The podcast is on YouTube, The Black Masculist Podcast Show. Check us out every week. We're dropping an episode. And that's how we doing it, you know what I'm saying, for the 2019s. But, you know what I'm saying, you know, in closing, you know, what can we do? We look at all this stuff, you know what I'm saying? We look at all the things that we talked about, you know what I'm saying? Blacks being non-monolithic, you know what I'm saying? The contrary to that, more unification and less individualism, we talk about black leadership, the lack of black leadership, how even the leader, the most important and powerful leader that we do have, you know what I'm saying, us as a people are still divided on him because of individualism, too much individualism. Like I said, individualism is cool. You do you, but a little too much. As they always say, too much of anything can make you an addict.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But with all this, and you know what I'm saying, learning our history and knowing that, in order for us to progress forward, you know what I'm saying, we need, to come together, and we need to have representation. We got to also keep in mind that when we're voting in these upcoming elections, the local elections as well as the national elections, we got to remember, we got to keep in mind that we're not only voting American, you know what I'm saying, we also voting on our nation, as black people, you know what I'm saying? So we can't let stuff like how they use the word minority back in the day, when instead of just saying we're going to do this for black people, they try to say minority. But minority encompasses everybody who's not a white man. Statistically, when you look at it and when you look at the word, it actually, minority covers everybody who's not a white man, which means that if you, in the context of the United States of America, majority and minority, minorities are all black people, all women, all people of melanin, and the majority is white man. If you look at it in the context of America, that's exactly what that means. So they use the word minority to trick us and to think that we're getting something, but that plate of food that we're supposed to be getting, there's a lot of people that's eating off that plate. That's supposed to be our plate, but everybody else eating off of it. So we got to keep that in mind.
Where you put that. Yeah, that's important. Important.
We got to keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? But this is the Black Masculist Podcast. So I ask brothers out there, you know what I'm saying? All our brothers out there, black men, what can we do? What can we do as far as educating our people properly on what stance they need to take? What stance they need to take individually? What stance they need to take as a group? What they need to know about how we're being treated here in this country and what they need to vote on. How what is it that we can do? You know what I'm saying? And
we'll leave that there.
Yeah, because I know it's a bunch of stuff that there's a bunch of ideas that you got. There's a bunch of ideas that I got. But you know what I'm saying? To close this out, we ask y'all, brothers out there who listening. Like I said, the Black Masculist, we got brothers. Not only do we got brothers checking us out in Buffalo, we got brothers checking us out in Baltimore as well too. Shout out to my brother Rock You know, he gave me a huge shout out, you know what I'm saying? That's my brother right there. Huge shout out to him. Huge shout out to my cousin Stacey. There's two people also forgot to shout out, you know what I'm saying? You know, they showed us mad love on the podcast, but shout out to them. But like I said, not only do we have brothers here in Baltimore, we got brothers in Buffalo. We also got brothers checking us out in Arizona. We got brothers checking us out in Texas. We got brothers checking us out in Brazil. Brothers checking us out in Spain. We got brothers everywhere. But for the brothers here on this rock, on this continent right here, what is it that we can do to collectively come together? Because as the Black Masculist, you know what I'm saying, like I said before, it don't matter who you think you are, you know what I'm saying, you a black man. So we need to fight for our people. We need to fight for our brothers. So I ask y'all, brothers out there, hit us up in